In part one, we talked about how Kitty Genovese's case, the brutal murder, revealed the terrifying reality of the bystander effect. But the story doesn't end there. What happened after Kitty's death is just as shocking. Now, not long after the attack, police arrested a man named Winston Moseley. He was caught during a burglary, and when questioned, he calmly admitted to killing Kitty. But here's the terrifying part. Kitty wasn't his only victim. Moseley confessed to other violent crimes, including murders and assaults. In court, prosecutors painted him as a predator who hunted women. He was convicted of Kitty's murder and sentenced to life in prison. And even with the killer behind bars, the public couldn't stop focusing on the neighbors who did nothing. Headlines screamed, 38 who saw murder and didn't call the police. And this single line defined the whole case. The world believed that 38 of Kitty's neighbors had either seen or heard the attack, and not one of them lifted a finger. How can someone be killed outside their home with dozens of witnesses and nothing happened? No one intervened. But later, investigations revealed the truth was more complicated. Yes, some neighbors saw or heard parts of the attack, but many didn't realize how serious it was. As I said before, they thought maybe, it was a drunken argument. Others assumed police had already been called. Now, in fact, one neighbor did call the police. Another held Kitty in her final moments. But by then, it was too late. So while the headline wasn't completely accurate, the damage was already done. That headline stuck, and it changed everything in Kitty's case. Kitty's case then became the symbol of public indifference. Psychologists studied it and coined the term bystander effect. And they actually went on to prove it. But Kitty's murder didn't just change psychology, it changed the law. Public outrage over her death helped push for the creation of the 911 emergency system in the US. Now, before 911, you couldn't just dial 3 numbers. You had to know your local precinct's phone number or call an operator, which wasted precious time. Kitty's case made it clear people needed a faster way to get help. Out of that tragedy, 911 was born. So, was Kitty really failed by 38 silent neighbors, or was she failed by fear, confusion, and a system that made it too hard to respond or seek rescue? Decades later, the myth and the truth are still tangled together. But one thing is certain, her death forced the world to confront the cost of silence. And it leaves us with one haunting question. If you heard someone screaming for help outside your window tonight, would you step in, or would you wait thinking